Well, the Federation of Governing Bodies of South African Schools says it's going to the Human Rights Commission to complain that the rights of children in 8 provinces are being infringed by the education departments in those provinces. The organisations say that in those provinces, children are not receiving the education they're legally entitled to. Jaco Deacon is the CEO at FEDSAS. Jaco, good afternoon to you. Just before we start about your argument, which is the one province that you're not making a claim against?
Surprisingly, the Free State, the top education province, but it's not for that reason. They filled all the posts and most of the posts, and they've paid the transfer money over to the schools. But we're still concerned about education in the Free State, but that's the province, that's the 9th province that's excluded from that referral to the Human Rights Commission.
Okay, thank you for that. What argument are you making? Why do you believe then in the other 8 provinces children are having their constitutional right to an education infringed upon?
As we speak, we've got more than 29,000 vacancies in the education system, and we're in the middle of the year. Those positions were supposed to be filled months ago, not in the middle of the academic year, and we're struggling to get those appointments, number one. And in those appointments, 8 of the 9 provinces are really the culprits. More than 3 provinces, more than 4,500 educators not in the classrooms or not permanently filled. In the Western Cape, 26% of all the principal positions are still vacant, so you've got acting principals. And to make matters even worse, in the Western Cape, 40% of our deputy principal positions are vacant. And schools receive 2 payments per year, the so-called transfer payments or subsidies. And those payments are supposed to be made on or before the 12th of May. That's the first payment. And the second one is on the 15th of November. And that's a statutory date fixed in our legislation. And only 3 provinces paid on time. Only the Western Cape, the Free State and Limpopo. 6 of the provinces did not pay on time. And in fact, as we speak in KZN, they are still waiting for the money. More than 5,000 vacancies. Children are still hungry. They walk to school. It's an absolute disaster.
Okay, why is it that one province, the Free State, has been able to do this? I realise it's relatively small, but the problems are still there, and the others haven't. And I mean, along with that, is this a result of what is sometimes called austerity? Is it a result of budgetary cutbacks that began in the pandemic?
No, it cannot be a budget problem because those posts are funded posts. We call it's part of the post basket. So they receive the money from Treasury as well as the transfer money for the school. So those funds are supposed to be ring-fenced only for education purposes. So you cannot utilize it for anything else. And that's why we don't understand why schools didn't get the money and why we struggle with the appointments. It cannot be money. It cannot be money alone. The reason why the Free State performed better is they fill the vacancies. I mean, you go through a process, you advertise the vacancies, and you fill those vacancies. If you drag your feet, like some of the other provinces do, they sometimes simply do that to save money. So for every month that you don't appoint somebody on a permanent basis, you save money. But at the end of the day, we're robbing our children. That's why we decided to approach the Human Rights Commission. They're supposed to be the custodian and to watch over the constitutional the constitutional rights of our learners in terms of Section 28 of the Constitution, Section 29 of the Constitution. So at the end of the day, it's not vacancies, it's learners without educators. It is learners without school nutrition programs. It's learners without transport, and it's learners that will suffer if schools don't get the money to pay for basics like your learning and teaching material, to pay the water and electricity bills. Some of our learners had to write the June exams in dark schools without heating because there's simply no money available for that. And that's definitely a gross violation of their constitutional right to education.
What I don't quite get from all of this is that the way that the education budget works is that the department will know exactly how many children it will have in which school at a certain time. I mean, this isn't rocket science. It's complicated, but it's not rocket science. And the money is there. As you say, it's been budgeted by the national government. So then where's it all gone? And has it gone to too much in administration or something else?
Yes, Stephen, I think that's the question that we've asked the question. We've asked the minister. Minister, you need to investigate this as well. If the money is ring-fenced and the money is not paid over, is it simply because we don't have leaders or officials who can execute. And if that's the case, then we need to see disciplinary action. We need to see the removal of those officials who cannot execute and cannot oversee. But I don't think we can only blame the officials within the departments of education. We need to point fingers towards our chosen or our elected leaders. In every single province and provincial legislatures, you've got these oversight committees. We've budgeted for a specific amount. Now we must make sure that they do use the money accordingly. Even the Portfolio Committee in Parliament, and I've said they're sleeping on duty, they're supposed to make sure that we execute in a specific way. If you read the preamble of the Constitution, it says we're going to unlock the potential of every single person. I think that's the duty of the educational sector. But we don't see that. In fact, if you're a child in KZN today, the message coming from society is you're not important. We're not going to pay for your education. And surely that's not what we decided as a country that we would like to do.
Jaco Deacon, thank you. The CEO at FEDSAS, the Federation of Governing Bodies of South African Schools. A lot to look at there.